Hey everyone, how you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. Hope you are good, and I'm happy to be back with another tutorial which will be on how to make this lovely dress with a flounce by the side. And trust me, it is very easy to make. Before we get started, if today is your first time of checking out this channel, you're welcome. Please make sure you subscribe. You can check out my other channel, Pattern Drafting with Bilikis. You will love every tutorial on that channel, so please subscribe. So back to today's class. Now for this dress, I'm going to be using a miniature measurement. It is all my measurements, but in centimeters. So just the same process, you can draft directly on your fabric or on your pattern paper, then transfer anyhow you want that. For instance, this is my sleeve pattern. The length of my 3/4 sleeve is 16 or 17. So here I have 16 inches, but in centimeters. So I hope you understood what I'm talking about. So this is the sleeve pattern ready. So now let's quickly draft. If you are drafting directly on your fabric, all you have to do is to fold the back, because the back is going to have a zipper allowance. So this is the zipper allowance. So you just fold the back to be 1 inch longer than the front. So this is for the back, and then you fold for the front. So you just make sure the back is 1 inch more than the front. But if you are drafting on your paper first, so this is how you do about it. Your zipper allowance, then you start drafting your measurement. First, you want to know the length of the dress, and for me 60 inches is okay with seam allowance. So I have my 60 inches here, as you can see. The next thing will be half of your armhole. Half of my armhole is 9 inches. My waist, vertical waist measurement 17 inches. My vertical hip measurement 26 inches, and the length of the dress as usual. I've labeled it armhole, waist, hip, and then the length of the dress. So the first thing we are just going to do is the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. So 3 inches first, then 8 inches here. From that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, which I have here, then connect from the 3 inches outward. The next thing will be your shoulder measurement, and make sure how your measurement is after the zipper allowance. That's very important. So now my shoulder measurement is, half of my shoulder measurement is 8.5 here. Then I come to the armhole line, 8.5, then connect that. So after doing that, let us quickly insert our circumferences. This type of dress is fitted but not too fitted. So in this case, you want to add enough ease to the fabric. Now my bust circumference is 44 inches, but I'm going to make it 46 inches. So 46 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 11.5. 11.5. Then plus, note after the zipper allowance, then I'll add 1 inch for side seam allowance, which will make it 12.5. So I'm going to skip the waist for now because it's a free fitted dress. Now going to the hip, my hip is 48 inches. I'm just going to add 2 inches to that too to make it 50. Divided by 4 will give me 12.5. Plus 1 inch seam allowance, that makes it 13.5. So you can see I'm still using my measurement, but in centimeters. So here now, to make it easier, just connect from your armhole line now to your hip. I just want to show you something, because you want it to be free, especially at the waist area. Fine is a fitted dress, but still free. So now, having done this, you are just going to come in 3/4 away from the waist. Just little, just 3/4 to 1 inch is fine. So let me just do 1 inch here. Then you can connect it. So you don't want the waist too tight. Good. So this is what it's going to look like. So after doing that, then we go to the hem of the dress. So all I have to do now is to transfer whatever I have at this hip region down to the length of the dress. So with seam allowance, I have 13.5. So here I'm just going to do, let's say 12.5 or 13, just little, just to make it a little bit tapered. It's not as if it is a straight dress, but just let's make it, especially for people that has a lot of hip, you need to make it a little taper. But if you are not hippy at all, just make it straight. Exactly the 13.5, put it here. But here now, I'm just going to be making like 12.5 or 13. So that is it. So the dress is fun. So this is what we have. So there's going to be a slit at the back. You can just determine how high you want your slits to be. So between 18 inches. It just depends on your preference. Some people like a lot of slits and some people don't like. I could do mine up to 20. So depending. So you can note that on the zipper allowance, because the zipper allowance we'll be using for the slits. So having done that, the last thing here before the neckline is to get the armhole. Just get the midpoint. So here 8, so that's 4. From there, I'm just going to come in 3/4 of an inch. The front armhole. Just going to look for a way to just use this. But first, let me connect this way. Good. So that's the front. Good. Then the back just be like this. Good. So you can see that. Then for the neckline, the back I'll just make it, let's say 2 inches. So the back is just 2 inches in depth, and then for the front I can just make it 4, depending on how high or low you want that to be. It's totally on your preference. And then the wideness can be 5 or 4.5. It totally depends on your preference. Totally depends on your preference. So this is for the back, and this is the front. So for the back, I will extend it here because I'm cutting this way. And that is it. The last thing, don't forget to add your shoulder seam allowance of 1/2 inch. So the dress is ready. So what I'm going to do now is to cut it all out, only the back measurements. Now after cutting it out, this is what I have. Then I think I forgot to mention the fact that since it will have a zipper and you want yours so tight, you can also add 2 inches to your waist measurement and then you divide by 4. But on the average, this works perfectly because of the type of dress. So having done that, for the slit, I'm just going to notch so that I know the part that is going to be. Then another thing now is for us to cut the flounce by the sleeve area downward. So for that, just locate your knee measurement. So for me it is, okay, let me use this as a guide, 9 inches. So it's about 44, 45. So it depends on your preference. Yours can get to that point or it can't. Anyone you want. Your preference is highly needed before you decide. So let's just mark the points. It can also be a guideline. So this is where we want it to stop. So now since we note that that is 44 inches for me, so that is it. So what I will do is to cut this out on the fabric, the back first, then the front. For the front, I'm going to trim off, cut off the zipper allowance, trim off the front neckline and the front armhole, then cut it out on fold. So I haven't done that. Then the flounce is the next thing. Looking at what I have here, so this is what it's going to look like. So this is what we want to have by the time we sew it. So this is going to drop, but because it is short, so it's just going to drop. That's what we want to have to, wherever you want it to stop. So for that now, you will need a paper. There are 2 ways you can do that. You can use the flounce method of the round, but for this is not too much flounce is not needed. You just need something simple, a little bit of flare. So in this case, I'm going to use the slash and spread method to do this. So since I know it to be 44 inches, which is here. Then you determine the length plus seam allowance. So let me just do like 8. So between 8 and 10 is fine, depending on your preference, as I always say. So 8, and then I'll just take it at about just half an inch here, or just to the end. So let me just mark 8 as a guideline. So with this, I can just play around with it. Just play around with it to the curve. So I think that's fine. This is the flounce, which is ready. So we're just going to slash and spread. So just mark some points. Let me use my marker so that it will be visible. I haven't done that now. I'm going to slit this almost to the end so that you'll be able to slash it. So I'm going to do that all through and then cut it on the fabric. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to cut this, the dress and the sleeve. Then we'll start sewing it up. So guys, I've cut out the pattern. So this is what I have. So this is for the back. So the first thing I'm just going to do, I've notched the slit part. So I'm going to make sure I just sew up. Notch where you want the zipper to stop. After notching it, so let's say the zipper will stop at here, this point. So you're just going to sew from that point down to where the slit will be. So the slit will then be folded this way and that way. So after joining the back, and this is what the front looks like. Can you see the front? So this is what the front looks like. Then I'm going to join at the shoulder and then just use a bias strip to hem it or facing, whichever one. After joining it together, then I'm going to fix the sleeve. This is what the sleeve looks like. This is the back, this is the front. I'm going to attach and then sew up the side. I want to show you how I cut out the flounce. So can you see the way it is on it? So this part is on the folded area, and then I just slash and spread through. You don't really need much. And I'm just going to cut it out and also cut this point out. Ready, and you can see how beautiful it looks. This is just wonderful. And you can see the sleeve. So in case you want to add like a sequence or anything just to beautify it, you can just put that before sewing the sides up. So this is what it looks like. So beautiful. So looking at the back, so this is where the zipper ought to be, but since it's not wearable, I just decided to leave that and not waste the zipper. So look at the slits. Can you see? I just overlocked it, so that will make it easier for me. Can you see? So that is it on the dress. So the next thing now is for us to fix the flounce on it. So this is how I cut out the flounce. So this is what I have. Let's use this to explain. So this is what we are going to have. So can you see how it falls? So with this, it is just reasonable and not too much. This is what I have. So how do we now fix it on the dress? So you are just going to fix it on the sleeve, just ahead of this sleeve here. So this is what we want to have. So this way, and then it stops around here. So can you see the flounce is not too much? I didn't really spread it that much, but if you want it to be voluminous, just spread it as much as you can. Yes, and then it can be curvy when you place it. By the time you straighten it up, it's going to be straight, so don't worry about that. So when sewing it now, you turn, there's the right side, so you turn to this wrong side. You must have hemmed this part or just overlock it and then fold it in. That will be easy for you. So this is the midpoint. I'm going to place it here. Just pin it down with your needle, with your pins. I said needle. So this is how we are fixing it. Can you see that? And then straight down. You can use the measurement of let's say your sleeve, from the middle, mine was about okay, let me measure this very one. This the center. Okay, I'm sorry, I used centimeter, so that's about 8.5. So you can use your half of your shoulder measurement from the center and just use your pencil to mark it all down to where you want it to stop. So on the wrong side, I'm just going to sew it down, just pin it and then sew it straight down to that point, and then on the other side. Flounce is, so by the time you put it on and then your sleeve comes down, the more the flounce is going to fall. So you can see the way I sew it down, so then you just press it towards this way, and that is it. So on the back, this is what I have. You can see your zipper should be here, and then by the time your hand is down, the flounce will fall more. Like the one I showed you on the mini mannequin, the flounce was much more than this. So it depends on your preference, how much flounce you want and how wide you want it to be. So if you want it to be so much, it depends on how much you spread out your pattern, and that is it. So if this tutorial has been helpful, just please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and then our physical classes in Lagos start on the 9th of January 2023. So you are all welcome to join us for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And then for our sewing tools, we have them available. Just use the contact number on the screen or in the description box to get to us. I have to go now. Bye.